What's the difference between a rifle and a gun? A few days ago, I was in class at my military university, and during a pleasant chat with my classmates, this question came up. Is there a difference between a rifle and a gun? If they are the same, why are there two different words to define them? And even though we asked teachers and other people, nobody knew the difference. Today, we are going to answer this question that actually has much more history than you think. To answer this question, we have to travel to the 17th century. Since the 17th century, the infantry was equipped with muskets that were called rifles by some countries. They were large-caliber long guns that fired spherical lead ammunition. These spherical projectiles were fired at fairly low speeds, and their shape also meant that the ammunition did not cause much damage to the enemy. Muskets were partially handcrafted, so all muskets had a different finish. Because of this, and the need for the infantry to reload their weapons as quickly as possible, ammunition was made a little smaller than the barrel to allow for some slack. This solved almost all the problems with the musket, but caused others, such as the slack between the barrel and the ammunition, causing the projectile to bounce inside the barrel, making the ammunition take a completely unpredictable direction when leaving the mouth of the weapon, making the weapon extremely inaccurate. It is said that only 5% of the shots fired by the infantry reached their target at about 300 meters. This is the origin of the linear tactics that to the untrained eye seemed almost suicidal, but were actually the best way to do things if you wanted the infantry to have greater effectiveness. This is why the military engineers of the time, in the mid-19th century, implemented an idea that in fact existed since the invention of the bow and applied to firearms existed since 1520, the rifling of the barrel, generalizing this technique in all the rifles of the infantry. Rifling consisted of scratching the sole of the barrel to make it have grooves in the form of a helical thread, which when firing gives a rotating effect to the projectile, making it stabilize in the air, of course improving the precision, just as arrows do with the feathers they have behind. This made the bullets come out spinning from the barrel with a much more predictable rotation than spherical bullets. At the same time, it made possible the use of non-spherical bullets to take the shape we know today, being much more aerodynamic. These always moved with the tip forward, partly due to the stabilization provided by the rotation and also due to the design of the bullets. This significantly increased the accuracy of long-distance shots by reducing the dispersion in the trajectory of the projectiles. The manufacturing process of rifled barrels moved from France to England and then to the United States before finally arriving in Spain. All countries had their own way of naming long guns. Particularly in France, they called them rifles, a term that Spain ended up adopting in its own way, calling long guns rifles. But when rifled barrel guns arrived in Anglo-Saxon countries, the term rifle gun began to be used to refer to long guns. Rifle gun means rifled barrel gun. The word rifle comes from the manufacturing process of rifled barrels, which was called rifling, which literally means scratching. In Spain, they continued to refer to long guns as rifles, despite the change in barrels from the appearance of rifled weapons. In Spanish-speaking countries, the term rifle was used, and in English-speaking countries, the term rifle was used to refer to long guns. Over time, in Spanish-speaking countries, the term rifle was specifically extrapolated to hunting weapons, while the term rifle was preserved for infantry weapons, so rifle and rifle are not the same, at least for those of us who speak Spanish. With globalization, or rather the Anglicization of Spanish, the term rifle began to be generally used for all long guns, but it is really not the correct term. So to reiterate, if you want to refer to a military long gun, the correct term is rifle, while if you want to define a long gun intended for hunting or home defense, the correct term would be rifle. The use of the word rifle in Latin America to refer to military long guns is nothing more than a widespread Anglicism of the population. This also applies to sniper rifles and rifles. People tend to believe that sniper rifles are the ones that are semi-automatic and are intended for medium ranges. And sniper rifles are the ones that are intended for long distances and are bolt action. Rifles are for hunting and home defense, and rifles are military. So the popular belief I just mentioned is a bit wrong, so now you know, soldiers. Thanks for watching the video.